Students, today we will start one more important chapter out of class 10 text, The First Flight. And the chapter is The Sermon at Benaras. Originally, it was delivered by Lord Buddha, and here it is in translated form. For convenience of study, we can divide the lesson in three parts, as I have been doing in other lessons too. In some of the lessons, proper division, part 1, part 2 is made by author himself. But here we will do it according to our understanding convenience so that we may have firm grasp over the content. But before that, I would like to discuss and seek your opinion, your acquaintance about Lord Buddha and the situation prevailing at that time which led him to renounce the world. So, I hope you all must be familiar with the name of Lord Buddha. And Buddha is a brand name. Generally, we see that due to the process of acculturation, people imbibe, inherit things from other culture, and they become the part and parcel of their life. Like Buddha, originally from India, a monk of highest order, attained salvation, started sharing his new understanding with the human beings. But that was not the age of globalization. So his preachings remain confined to India, and whenever people from other countries came to study in the great universities like Taxila, Nalanda, and Vikramshila, there they became the familiar of teaching, preaching of Lord Buddha, and later on they became ambassadors of Buddha's preaching. It went to other countries as well. And today, as a matter of fact, I am proud to say that sometimes I feel proud, and this must be the case with other peoples as well, that Buddha is a brand name. It is just like Samsung and LG product, which is ruling the roost in almost every part of the world in electronics. So Buddha is a brand name in the field of religious concept. Buddha entirely is not associated with one particular religion. Buddhist is means Buddhists are the people who follow the preachings of Lord Buddha. But at the same time, we must be reminded that Buddha is said to be 24th incarnation avatar of God, Lord Vishnu. So, lot of Hindu people think that Buddha belongs to our own community. So, when we talk about the Southeast Asia, especially China and Japan, we see the countries which are highly developed. Buddha and his preachings are there, and they consider Buddha and his values of great great worth, and Buddha is part of their culture. So Buddha and his teaching, preaching now is spread in almost every part of globe. Very recently, I came to know that one of the most established star in Hollywood became Buddhist monk. And this has been the case with many celebrities across the world. In Bodh Gaya itself, you will see that it is international airport, and people from every part of globe come to show their reverence, respect, and they at least come to see the place where he got enlightenment. But before that, we must discuss the situation prevailing at that time, which forced him to renounce the world. When you see the complete history, complete Buddhist literature, we come to know that Buddha wanted to know the root cause of misery. Why is there conflict? Yes, I mean it. Buddha didn't attain salvation just for personal achievement, Rather, he wanted to know what actually is the root cause, not for death, destruction, and misery, for conflict. Because Buddha belonged to a royal family, and it is written in the book Jatak Kathaएं that Buddha was very painful. He was penned by the idea that there is conflict all everywhere among all the existing kings, the feudals at that time, and there were constant clash. There was no peace prevailing at that time, as he was the prince of Kapilvastu, the son of King Suddhodan. So he started thinking the life is worthless. All the while we engage, we try to prove our supremacy. He lost his peace of mind. That is the background where he wanted to know the ultimate truth. Where is the peace? Where is the ultimate truth that will give us peace of mind? And he started thinking seriously that someday I will renounce the world and I will try to attain that highest level of perception. And that is why he left his home. So that is the background that led him to renounce the world. As he was from royal family and he experienced the state of affair in that contemporary age, because Buddha was born 3000 years back in 563 BC. So this is not the story of this medieval or modern age, but his teaching and preaching still prevails. And about Buddha, I want to add to your knowledge that Buddha is the only man, the founder, I won't say religion. Buddha is community. Anybody having Hindu, Muslim, Christian, all are welcomed if you follow the preachings of Buddha. Buddha himself said, I do not belong to any particular religion. Don't just believe, don't just take me to an incarnate of God. I am a human being. Just I have attained the higher level of perception where man is free of conflict, any anguish, life and death meaningless. I have reached to the place. That is why he says, when I dies, don't consider me to be a prophet or incarnate of God. Rather, you do it yourself. You try to be another Buddha. Appa Deepo Bhava. That was his message. And although the lesson, actually, lesson is very short. It will take only 15 minutes. That's why I'm talking and trying to explain the concept and idea and the background of Lord Buddha. We must know that because he is a great treasure. He is the legacy, rich legacy, one of the highest, one of the monk which is followed, appreciated world over. And Vivekananda says that in whole of the human civilization, nobody has ever been greater than Buddha. Why does he say so? Christ, Ram, Mahatma Gandhi, there are many people. But you know, what is the definition of greatness? Greatness means you benefit mankind, very simple. But there are three types of people who are great. Some are born great, like Jesus, Rama. They didn't go for emancipation, enlightenment, because they were the messenger of God. They were born great. Even the young Krishna, only 3/4 year, opened his mouth and the whole Brahmanda was reflected, seen by our mother. They didn't go for any tapascharya or asceticism, penance. They are born great. The second category of great people are those who achieve, those who are made great. That means greatness is thrust upon them. That is not greatness. That means if you are head of a political party, if you are a son of influential leader, you replace him after death and you become the new leader. What is greatness? Those people emerge as a great leader, the savior of nation, like King Jong in South Korea. Personally, his achievement is not there, but still he is head of the country. He is great. So greatness is thrust upon them. That is second category. And third is those who achieve greatness from very ordinary phase of life. They go to the highest place. That is greatness achieved, and they are the best people. Now here, Buddha was not an entrepreneur. Buddha was not the Hollywood actor who is the most successful or the most successful sportsman. These are the hallmark of being great. Nor did Buddha reform the society. Buddha attained enlightenment. He reached to the place of perception nobody has ever been able to do. Because he was from royal family, he could have led his life in rich and affluent way, but he didn't do that. His Ashtang Marg and the preachings that I don't want to mention because I do not have the perfect idea. But it is said that his way of leading life is full of peace and understanding. And who am I to give certificate? Buddha is accepted, appreciated by people of all religion, all community, and already he is one of the most established brand in India and in entire world. Okay. That I went into extra detail, try to make you believe that you as an Indian you must feel proud. If Samsung and LG are ruling the roost, then at least one brand is there. May not be electronics, but he is the messenger, he is the legacy which went to every nook and corner of the world. Now I will come back to the main point, the lesson itself. The first part of lesson is the life, family, early life, and then when he went to then he renounced the world, the 7 years in exile in forest, attained salvation. That is first part. Second is a brief story of Kisa Gautami, and third is a sermon, and that sermon is only consisting only three paragraphs, small paragraph. That is why I went into extra detail, because I have got the liberty of explaining things within 40 minutes. So in my opinion, Buddha is greatest. It is my personal opinion too, because he was from royal family. He had no understanding of misery, deprivation, but still he renounced the world. He could have led life in a very rich way, luxurious way, but he preferred to go for asceticism, penance, tapascharya, and spent 6 odd years with no food, no shelter. And then he founded. Actually, he didn't lay the foundation, but the people followed him in great number. The mighty kings of the contemporary age, like Samrat Asoka, many mighty kings surrendered to him, bowed to him. Asoka himself became follower of Buddha because he was fed up of war and conflict. So you will get peace of mind, at least. Now the early life is, I hope most of the students are familiar. He was born in Lumbini village, that is in Nepal in the present date. So Dodhan and Mahamaya, mother and father, and Gautam was the name. He was prince. It was made the prophecy by the astrologers, prediction, that in whichever field he goes, that was the line, in whichever field he goes, he will be at the top. If he is king, he will be Chakravarti Samrat. And if he goes to renounce the world, he will be the monk of the highest order. So the king thought, better I should marry this my son to a beautiful princess. In that way, he will enjoy his life, and he will not get diverted to the miseries of the world. But once he went outside, he saw some sick people, some people who were ill, some poor people begging for alms, and then he saw a dead man, people crying, lamenting. He started thinking, this is the fate of life. And here I would like to say that one certain event leaves different impressions in the mind. We see many dead people, we do not become monk. We see many poor people begging for alms, we do not renounce the world. But it made huge impact in the mind of Buddha, that I will try to know why actually we meet fateful end, why we expire, why we become dead, why we lose life. I will try to know what actually is the ultimate life. And one day he renounced the world. The princess Yasodhara, he had a son, Siddharth. He promised to Yasodhara that I am going for a noble cause. You will stay in the palace. And Yasodhara requested Buddha that you are going for to discover something which is of great value. I will not be an hindrance. Such was the lady. Those ladies like Ratnavali, Tulsidas, like Yasodhara, they are the women who must be admired because they suffered the terrible loss, the personal loss, sense of separation and grief, but they allowed their husband to achieve something great. And Buddha promised, he asked actually, when you discover the ultimate truth, you must come to me to tell me what actually that is. And Buddha did that. It is in Jatak Katha, not in the chapter. So Buddha went to the forest. He wandered from one place to other. And he went for penance, asceticism, the hard core of life. Sometimes without food, he lost his health. And in that way, he moved from one place to other. And lastly, he went to a village. There was a woman named Sujata. Sujata advised Buddha, and sometimes, the people who are illiterate but full of wisdom. So Sujata once told Buddha, whatever you are looking for, you must care for your own self, the body, the very existence, because it will help you to discover the truth. Why you are overlooking your health? And then Sujata, being devotee, she started giving her something as reverence. And one day, Buddha decided that I will sit under this tree. That was the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. And I will sit and lose life because enough is enough. I will reach to the higher level of perception, self-realization, connection to God, the Supreme Soul, or the final authority. I will do that or I will lose life. I will not leave that place. And you must know that he kept on sitting for 7 days, closed eyes closed, in deep meditation. And then finally, that was the Buddha Purnima. He was just about to attain salvation. He had reached to the final level of self-realization. That Sahasrar Chakra, that 7 chakras are there. His energy went to the 7th level, 7th phase. And it is said in our mythology that once the energy is released from Brahmarandra, the 7th layer of our scalp, then we are enlightened. That is the philosophy. So it was just about to happen. Sujata whispered something. Hey Bhante, kuch kha lijiye. Buddha opened his eyes. He was full of peace. He had already reached to some other state of mind. Buddha appreciated. He took the kheer, and then the very same night he went for a meditation, and there was the enlightenment. And Buddha realized, that realization is not the words. You feel that state of mind. Then he decided that now I got the remedy, the Catholicon, and I will share my new understanding with the rest of humanity. At least it will help them to come out of the grief, personal loss, because it is not all about death in our family. We remain at loss because we lose things, we lose possessions, we lose people, and we lose things, earthly possessions. So he thought, my new understanding, that Sukh Dukha Sammo Bhava, it is the quote line, means you must remain in the same state, either it is happiness or sorrow. So he decided to share his understanding, and he left that place, Gaya, Bodh Gaya in the present day. And he decided that I will start preaching lesson from a place which is the holiest of all, that is Benaras. So from Bodh Gaya to Benaras, he walked on foot, crossed many villages, many people came in contact with Buddha. Wherever he had time to rest, he started awakening people. And some of the people followed him and reached to Benaras, and they were 5 in numbers. When he reached Benaras, he went 8 kilometers away to a very special place full of greenery and peace, serenity. he realized that this is the ideal place. I will stay for some time, and it was the Sarnath. Now it's a famous place for Buddhist. A very high statue is placed there, made of bronze perhaps, very shining. I personally went there. I know that place. 10 years back, I had gone there. And I was very much, I was full of reverence and emotion that, this is the place where only 5 peoples were sitting. His first preaching was to 5 people, and the head was Anand, his successor. So he preached the lesson that is at the end of the text, and that place is Sarnath. There is a monastery nowadays, and the place is preserved by Archaeological Survey of India as National Heritage. So if you get a chance, you must go there. There the vibes are there, the vibrations you will feel. The same vibration it is there in the Vikramshila University. So I spent some time. I was with some other people. Then in the second part of the chapter is story of Kisa Gautami. Her only son died as snake bite. The poison spread in the entire body, and he was dead in the days of adolescence. He went to Lord Buddha, because people advise you go to Lord Buddha, he is very capable. Buddha said, it's impossible to give life back to the boy, but I can make you realize that death is common. We all are in the valley of death. So he said that I will make him alive if you procure some mustard seed where no people has died in the family. She failed to do so, and lastly she realized that death is common to all, because wherever she went, someone had died in that family. So in the end she realized that nobody is there who has not lost his or her relative. That is the story. And at the end of the chapter, which is the main part, the main sermon, here I must tell you, whatever he said in his first sermon is nothing new, nothing special. The only thing he advised that you should feel those things right from the core of your heart. And if you feel it, if you feel it right from the core of your heart in the real sense, you will come out of grief. The preachings are, in the first para he says, the death is common to all. Language is different, but the sum and substance is, we are all in valley of death. Death is common to all. Nobody can escape death. It is the ultimate reality. And he has made comparison of human beings to 3 things. Firstly, we are like earthen vessel that ends up in being broken. Second is the case of ripe fruit. It is bound to separate from the tree. It will fall down on earth. That happens with human beings. Like ripe fruit, they go to the crematorium. Then third, we are like ox who are taken to the slaughterhouse by the god of death, and we are helpless. In the second paragraph, he says that a people, no matter how mighty or powerful he is, even king cannot save his people, his own people, and at least the family members. King is considered to be the head of power, final authority. But even he is prey to death, victim to death whenever right time approaches. So no matter how much powerful, influential, rich, poor, old, young you may be, you all will have to meet the same fate. People of all caste, creed, they will meet the same fate. Then the last preaching, the important preaching in the third para, that we are in the habit of accusing God, that God is the responsible factor for our miserable plea, for our fateful end. We have lost our relative. We will not no more worship God. This is the very same feeling when somebody expires in our village, in our family. Buddha said it is not right to do so, because in return you will get nothing. That death, lamentation, wailings, weeping for long will make yourself sick. You might lose your life, and sometimes it is seen husband and wife both departs. So he says expression or feeling or emotion at the time of death is quite natural. But we must console ourselves. Lamentation too much is of no use. Accusation to God too much is of no use. It will lower your personality. And that is why he says, the last line of the text is, if you take out the arrow of lamentation buried deep in your chest, if you take out by your personal effort, then you will attain peace of mind and you will be blessed by God. Because God is not a human being that you cross the finger and he will get angry. But he says so only because if you follow the right path of life, right track of life, then only you will be blessed, means that means then only you will attain perfect peace and happiness. Although it is very easy to say like this, whenever somebody departs and a premature death in family, naturally lamentation will be deep and for long. It's quite natural. So we have got our, see, Buddha says, it is his preaching, not in this text, that don't follow my words. I am there to help you. I am there to awaken you. You enlighten yourself. You emancipate yourself from the bond or from the chain. Because we are born free. Everywhere we are in chain. What is that chain? The chain of death. The chain of the miserable days. The chain of loss. And we have to break the chain. We have to break the barriers. We will come out. It's very easy to preach the lesson. Easier to say than to get it done. But at least by our year-long practice, by meditation, we can reach to that place. We cannot be the next to Buddha, but at least we can follow it. And it is not all the preaching. These preachings were very innocent people. It was the first preaching to the innocent villagers there. But the entire preaching is in some other form, in Jatak Katha, in detail. And one most important thing, that Buddha has got Astangik Marg, where he has explained the theory to practice and nurture in personal life. The Vipassana Sadhana, the 21 days somebody is locked in the room and then he remains confined and then his mind becomes concentrated when you go for the meditation course of Buddha, advised by Buddha. It is the Buddhist way of attaining means peace of mind. So the process, the preachings are many. The entire collections are there in the book, in Buddhist literature. The first sermon of Benaras. The lesson is not the entire sermon, like first sermon, the very simple sermon. But the important one is that it is the first, the very first. When Buddha was not even known to the villagers sitting there. So this lesson comes to the end. The possible questions will be that what are the main points of sermon? Not by Buddha. Buddha delivered that. First sermon by Buddha at Sarnath. So what was the main point of sermon delivered by Buddha at Sarnath? Not the sermon in general found in the Jatak Katha or Buddhist literature. So this is the end of the textbook, and I hope that lessons like this rekindle fire within ourselves. And as a student, this one is the most decisive phase. When you come across the achievements, the special traits of character lying in a particular character within a particular person, that fills you with unprecedented enthusiasm, courage, hope, and positive things. And this lesson is one among them. And in CBSE, you have got the collection of world's finest literature. The only negative thing, according to me as a teacher, if I assess your textbook, then some poems are more than ordinary. The text, the prose pieces are of very high level. As I told, that collection of finest literature. But poems are ordinary. So I hope that CBSE will go for the next assessment and some meaningful poem, some thoughtful poem, because this is the age of advancement. You cannot go for lullaby in the class 10. Some of the poems are very ordinary. Class 10 students are very mature. And if you help them to understand such high standard of literature, why you include such ordinary poems like the tale of animals like this, the tale of wild animals. The ballad story. Ballad is a different form of poem in story form. It's like for 7 or 8 class. We need to have thoughtful poems like Soldier, Psalm of Life, Solitary River, Daffodils, Description of Nature. So such poems should be there. These are the examples of some good poems. Soldier, Psalm of Life. I'm not getting right now, it doesn't flash in my mind, the secondary level poems. But when you go through the text, apart from the main explanation, you must go for the extra discussion. Like in the classroom, after finishing the text, I might put some questions to you. Okay, what idea did you derive from the text? What would have you done had you yourself been in the place of Buddha? Definitely answer will not be the same. I personally, I am not going to say my idea would have been different entirely. Is it very hard to be Buddha? One out of millions reach to the place, finally conclude. Lastly, I must decide that Buddha came back when he became a great monk, many followers with them. He came to the royal palace and he met Yasodhara. And Yasodhara handed over the child to him, Siddhartha. So I have nothing more to say, but I think okay, not getting the right idea what should I share with student about Buddha. The video already went up to 31 minutes, so now it is enough of enough.